Hey, Shalom Israel, Brother Reggie Jr. here. So today, guys, we're going to be reading Numbers chapter 11, just picking up where I left off from last time. However, instead of starting with Numbers 11 and 1, I'm going to jump back up to Numbers 10, and we're going to start with verse 33, because we just want to get some context, so that way we understand what we're looking at in Numbers 11, okay? So Numbers 10 and 33, it says, and they departed from the mount of the Lord 3 days' journey. And who is they? They is the children of Israel. Okay. So the children of Israel, they got up and they left the mount and they're on a 3 days journey. So they're journeying. Okay. And it says, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord went before them in the 3 days journey to search out a resting place for them. Verse 34. And the cloud of the Lord was upon them by day when they went out of the camp. And it came to pass when the ark set forward that Moses said, rise up, Lord, and let thine enemies be scattered, and let them that hate thee flee before thee. And when it rested, he said, return, O Israel, unto the many thousands of Israel. Because when you rest, that means what? That there's peace, that your enemies have been what? Conquered. Okay. But when the Lord rise up, that's because he's finna get ready to do his enemies in. And that's what's going to happen at the end, brothers and sisters. The Lord, he's going to rise up and he's going to overthrow all these nations who got his people in the captivity. Okay. He's going to rise up, destroy them. And then guess what? We're going to go back to the land. He going to go back to the land. We're going to go back to the land. And guess what? He going to rest and we're going to rest. Why? Because the enemies have been broken and defeated. But nevertheless, Israel is on this journey. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and read Numbers 11 and 1. That's what we came for. Okay. So this is Israel during this journey. And it says, and when the people complained, it displeased the Lord. So during this journey, we see that the children of Israel, they were complaining. And it says it displeased the Lord. Now, when I looked up that word displeased, it actually means to annoy. So all of that complaining, it annoyed the crap out of God. And it says, and the Lord heard it, and his anger was kindled. Okay, and we're going to find out what it is that they were complaining about, and whatever it is that they were complaining about, it made the Lord real mad. And it says, and the fire of the Lord burned among them and consumed them that were in the uttermost parts of the camp. Okay, so the Lord began to consume Israel. Okay, as well as some of the mixed multitude, he began to consume them. And we're going to figure out, we're going to see this shortly. Verse 2, and it says, and the people cried unto Moses. And when Moses prayed unto the Lord, so the people, they cried unto Moses, the same one they didn't like, the same one they had to go to thwart God's judgment and to get God's judgment off of them. It says, and when Moses prayed unto the Lord, the fire was quenched. So the Lord sent a fire among them, was devouring them. Okay, verse 3. It says, and he being Moses, called the name of the place Taberah, because the fire of the Lord burned among them. Verse 4. And the mixed multitude that was among them fell a-lusting. Okay, so we're going to see this complaint. We're going to see what was going on. It says in the mixed multitude. So this mixed multitude, this was that group that followed the children of Israel. Israel didn't go out a mixed multitude. No, a mixed multitude from Egypt followed after the 12 tribes of Israel. And it says they fell a-lusting. And the children of Israel also wept again and said, who shall give us flesh to eat? Okay. Now I want to make a comment on this, but I'm going to wait till I'm finished. Read verse 5. What did the children of Israel say? Okay. It says, they said, we remembered the fish which we did eat freely. First of all, Negro, in Egypt, you was a slave. Just like here in America, I'm a slave. I'm a captive. So yeah, right now, I go to McDonald's whenever I want Burger King. I can go to the Texas de Brazil. What's some more of them? Moe's Barbecue. I can go all of these places, but guess what? At the end of the day, I'm still a captive and I'm at the bottom. See, Israel will straight up defy logic to do evil, to live out their pleasures. They will defy all common sense and logic to get whatever it is that they want. So they're saying, we remember when we ate the fish freely in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, and the leeks, and the onions, and the garlic. They said, but now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all beside this manna before our eyes. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you what the children of Israel are actually complaining about and reminiscing over. Basically, they missed the lifestyle that they lived in Egypt. Okay, because it's not really about the food. Okay, I know when we read this, we're looking at the fish, cucumbers, melons, the leeks. Listen, it's not really about the food, but they thought about the evil that they freely got to do when they were in Egypt. Because, we read in Exodus and, stuff like that. Remember the golden calf and all that? Listen, man. The golden calf, where you think they got this stuff from? They got this stuff from Egypt. And no doubt, it wasn't just about this worshiping the golden calf, but it was the things that came with the golden calf. Having orgies, all kind of stuff like that. Israel, basically, they missed those days where we could live raunchy and do what we wanted to do. So it's not about the food, brothers and sisters. That's just a cloak. And see, that's what that's why he's mad, because he knows that too. Now he's going to deal with them according to the food, but he really know what it is that they're angry about and upset about. They missed when they was in Egypt, when they got to do what they wanted to do. Yeah, we were slaves and we was captives, but at least we got to live out our sin. We could do what we want to do, but now we sitting up here in this wilderness. We got to live righteously. We got to be in order. In Israel, they didn't like that, because God cut them off basically from pleasure. And Israel, we are a pleasure people. You cut Israel's pleasure off, now they feel like they being oppressed. And so that's what we're dealing with right here. I mean, Israel's a very stiff-necked and a very rebellious people. And that's how God summed up these people. He said they rebellious and they're stiff-necked. So for you brothers and sisters who, decide you want to get up and teach the children of Israel, you need to know those two things about these people. They're rebellious, insurrectionists against their own. Rebellious against their own, rebellious against authority, rebellious against God, and they're stubborn. These people refuse to change. No matter how much you warn them, you try to correct them, you try to put them on the right path, they will not change. These are the people. You could lay out success for them on a silver platter and they will find some type of way to sabotage themselves. There is no better people on this earth at sabotaging themselves and destroying themselves like the children of Israel. Okay? And I hate to say that, but brothers and sisters, it's just the truth. Verse 6, and it says, but now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all beside this manna before our eyes. Verse 7. But see, the Lord know what they really saying. He know what they really saying. Okay, 7. And the manna was as coriander seed. So it was described, the Bible's describing this angel's food. He said it was as coriander seed, and you can go look it up if you want to see what that looks like. And it says the color thereof as the color of bdellium. Verse 8. And it says, and the people went about and gathered it and ground it in mills and beat it in a mortar and baked it in pans and made cakes of it. And the taste of it was as the taste of fresh oil. So this manna, we see that this manna that they took they made stuff out of this manna, like cakes and such. So they didn't just eat it in its raw form, but they made other things out of it. Verse 9, it says, and when the dew fell upon the camp in the night, the manna fell upon it. Then Moses heard the people weep throughout their families, every man in the door of his tent. And the anger of the Lord was kindled greatly. Moses also was displeased because, again, what they're complaining about, what they're weeping about, has nothing really to do with the food, okay? It's this mindset of when we was in Egypt, man, we got to do what we want to do. You know what I'm saying? I could roll up the McDonald's, man. I could roll up the Popeyes and KFC. Okay, but again, it's not really about the food. It's just they're thinking about how they got to do what they wanted to do when they was in the land, and that pissed God off. And it said Moses was also displeased, so Moses also became annoyed. Verse 11. Now watch what Moses says, okay? Because you got a lot of men, among us who, they think they Moses, they want to be Moses. Well, look at what Moses says about the children of Israel. It says 11, and Moses said unto the Lord, wherefore hast thou afflicted thy servant? So Moses is asking the Lord, why have you afflicted me, Lord? Well, afflicted him concerning what? And wherefore have I found not favor in thy sight? So favor in thy sight concerning what, Moses? That thou layest the burden of all this people upon me. So Moses was burdened and he was afflicted, having to lead the children of Israel. And see, once you know how these black people act, then you understand why in Exodus, why Moses was ducking his role, because he knew the children of Israel, right? Just like when Moses, right, when he spied out this Egyptian man smiting his brother, beating him basically. It said Moses looked left, he looked right, and he killed the Egyptian, okay? So he killed them. And after he killed the Egyptian, he buried him in the sand. And then I guess the following day, Moses seen his brethren, two of his brethren, they was fighting each other. Yeah, man, getting in each other's face, punching, fist fight. You know how Israel do. And then Moses said, hey, why y'all fighting each other, man? Y'all brothers. That lets you know Moses had that love. Hey, you fight your enemies. You don't fight each other. But he said, why y'all fighting each other? He said, y'all brothers, man. And what the Israelites said, they said, who makest thou a prince and a judge over us? He said, you gonna slay us like you slayed that Egyptian? And what did it say? It said Moses fled. And Moses said, what? Surely this thing is known. Because, Israel, I ain't gonna lie, that was funny. Because Israel, Moses, he knew Israel. Israel has no love for their own. He knew that. They ain't got no love for their own. And so instead of hiding that matter, yes, sir, Moses, he killed that Egyptian for us. Let's hide the matter, let's not say nothing. Let's, cover it up for him and stuff like that. Because he did a great work for us. We want to make sure he not turned in to Pharaoh. Nope. Surely this thing is known. And sure enough, too, Pharaoh went after Moses. Why? Because them Israelites told on him. Because Israel, I'm telling you, they good at sabotaging themselves. Okay, but you let it have been an Egyptian that slew the Egyptian that was smiting one of their brothers, and guess what? They would have covered for that Egyptian. Yeah, let's cover for him because he did, a good work for us, man. You know what I'm saying? He got that nasty oppressor away from us. So if it was an Egyptian who slew the other Egyptian, they would have covered for that Egyptian. And I hate to say it, but brothers and sisters, I mean, that's just the truth, okay? But Moses, man, he was burdened, afflicted, having to lead the 12 tribes. Verse 12, he says, have I conceived all this people? Have I begotten them? Okay. So all is and it's funny because y'all brothers specifically, in y'all mind, a lot of y'all want to be Moses. Y'all want to be the savior of these 12 tribes, 12 tribes of Israel, which you're not, because Jesus is going to be the savior of these people. He already is, and he will be when he make his second coming. But a lot of y'all, you desire to sit in Moses' seat. You want all these Israelites under your kneecaps. You want them looking up to you. Okay. But Moses is in this position, and he's saying something completely different. He says, have I conceived all this people? Have I begotten them? That thou shouldest say unto me, carry them in thy bosom, as a nursing father beareth a sucking child, unto the land which I swear unto their fathers. Whence should I have flesh to give unto all this people? For they weep unto me, saying, give us flesh, that we may eat. And you got to understand, it say, for the people weep unto me. Okay. Now, if you know Israel, okay, Israel show out. When there's something that they want, they are a bunch of wild damn animals. And I know they wearied poor Moses to death. I know they almost ripped this man apart. Because can't nobody complain like this, people. Israel go to a chicken shack or a hole in the wall restaurant. Nigga only been waiting in line for a minute. 1-2 minutes. Man, this junk taking too long, bro. Like, bro, you just got here. But you know Israel, man. That's how they be. It's taking y'all so long, man. Y'all ain't got this chicken ready, bro. Come on, man. I've been waiting a while. Bro, you only been here for like 2 minutes. So imagine a land, not imagine a land, but imagine having all 12 tribes doing that. I don't know how Moses did it, man. I'm just going to tell you. You know the Lord was with him. You know the Lord was with him. Okay? But let's keep going. Verse 14. He says, I am not able to bear all this people alone, because it is too heavy for me. So Moses got to the point where he said, Lord, I can't do this. I cannot bear the 12 tribes all on my own. Moses said, this is impossible. Moses said, this is too heavy for me. Meanwhile, you got guys wanting to be Moses, but Moses said, it is too heavy for me. Even some of us churches, we got maybe 1,000, couple thousand members, man, and we be weird to damn death. We be weary. Oh man. And we only dealing with a couple thousand of Israelites. Imagine having to deal with over 1 million Israelites at once. These people are dry you mad, man. And watch what Moses say in verse 15. He said, and if thou deal thus with me, so if you tell me, Lord, no, you gonna bear these people by yourself. Okay. He said, if you deal with me thus, he says, kill me, I pray thee. Kill me, I pray thee, out of hand, if I have found favor in thy sight, and let me not see my wretchedness. Because Moses like, listen, these people gonna end up driving me crazy, Lord. He say, but I want you to kill me before I can see myself go crazy. Kill me, Lord. That's how bad it was, man, that he said, take me out. But meanwhile, you got these brothers that want to stand up and they want to pretend like they Moses. Moses was in this spot and he was like, nah. He said, nope. He said, Lord, if you don't get me some help, man, you're going to have to take me out of here. Verse 16. So the Lord heard his request. Verse 16, and the Lord said unto Moses, gather unto me 70 men of the elders of Israel, whom thou knowest to be the elders of the people, and officers over them, and bring them unto the tabernacle of the congregation. that they may stand there with me. And I will come down and talk with thee there. And I will take of the Spirit which is upon thee, and put it upon them. And they shall bear the burden of the people with thee, that thou bear it not thyself alone. So the Lord want Moses to take the elders of the people, because he's going to take the spirit that Moses had. He's going to put it on the elders, basically to help divide and split up the workload. Because it's just too much for one man to do everything. It just is. You know, even now in these churches, you know, even Israel's church is 4 of us. And then in other churches, it's 10 men, or 12 or 20 men. In the street camps, it's the same way. You got 50 men. Why? Because, you know, that work has to be divvied up. If it's just one person, I mean, it's too much, man. It is. You know, and we flesh and blood, men. So we, you know, our bodies physically, our bodies cannot take all that. You know, because naturally, you know, I know Israel had disputes and they had problems. So naturally, you're taking all of that on. All of Israel's problems now become your problems, because you're having to judge all of these matters. I mean, my goodness, man, you will go crazy. Your stress levels will be through the roof. Okay. Now, let's keep it going. 18, it says, and saying to the people, sanctify yourselves against tomorrow, and ye shall eat flesh. So, okay, so now the Lord going back to address Israel's complaining about the food, but God gonna deal with them according to the food. But the Lord know that it's not really about the food. It's this mindset of Israel reminiscing about the good old days when they were in Egypt doing whatever they wanted to do. Okay, so he's finna address this. Verse 18. And say thou unto the people, okay, all of them that was murmuring and complaining, sanctify yourselves against tomorrow, and ye shall eat flesh. For ye have wept in the ears of the Lord, saying, who shall give us flesh to eat? For it was well with us in Egypt. Yeah, well with us in Egypt, where you was a damn slave and you was on the bottom. Same place where Pharaoh gave that command to throw your sons in the river, which they did. But, hey, it was well with us there. We had it good in Egypt with Master. Master treated us good. That's these Negroes. And I'm telling you, man, Israel would defy all logic and common sense to get some pleasure. And it's just the truth. Okay? But he said, the Lord will give you flesh, and ye shall eat. 19. Ye shall not eat one day, nor 2, nor 5, neither 10 nor 20 days, but even a whole month, until it come out of your nostrils, and it be loathsome unto you. So Lord, and so basically Moses said, Lord gonna give you so much meat, you're gonna be tired of it, because you have despised the Lord which is among you. Okay, and have wept before him, saying, why came we forth out of Egypt? In Moses 21, and Moses said, the people among whom I am are 600,000 footmen. And thou hast said, I will give them flesh, that they may eat a whole month. Okay, so the Moses is saying, okay, Lord, so you said you're going to give them flesh, that they're going to eat a whole month. So naturally, Moses is going to think to himself, how are we going to get this flesh? Because this is a lot of people. He says, shall the flocks and the herds be slain for them to suffice them? Or shall all the fish of the sea be gathered together for them to suffice them? And look what the Lord responded to Moses. He says, and the Lord said unto Moses, is the Lord's hand waxed short? Okay. Thou shalt see now whether my word shall come to pass or not. In other words, the Lord telling Moses, no, I don't need your help and I don't need the children of Israel help. Y'all ain't gonna have to move a finger, because I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get this done. Okay. Verse 24, and it says, and Moses went out and told the people the words of the Lord, and gathered the 70 men of the elders of the people, and set them round about the tabernacle. And the Lord came down in a cloud and spake unto him, and took of the spirit that was upon him, and gave it unto the 70 elders. And it came to pass that when the spirit rested upon them, they prophesied and did not cease. 26. But there remained 2 of the men in the camp. The name of the one was Eldad, and the name of the other was Medad. And the spirit rested upon them. They were of them that were written, but went not out unto the tabernacle, and they prophesied in the camp. Okay, so they didn't go out into the tabernacle, but they stayed in the camp. But nevertheless, the Lord still put that spirit on them. Okay, so that lets you know too, brothers and sisters, when you're destined for something, it don't matter where you run, where you hide, don't matter where you go, where you at the time. Whatever God got for you, it's going to be for you. Okay. So whatever the Lord say your destiny is, hey, you going to fulfill that destiny. Verse 27, it says, and there ran a young man and told Moses, and we're going to figure out who this young man is. He was young at this time. So this young man, it says, ran and told Moses and said, Eldad and Medad do prophesy in the camp. And Joshua, the son of Nun, the servant of Moses, one of his young men, answered and said, my Lord Moses, forbid them. Okay, never mind. For some reason, I thought this young man running was Joshua, but no, this was Joshua, young Joshua, responding to the young man that made that declaration to Moses. So he said, he says, Joshua the son of Nun, the servant of Moses, one of his young men, answered and said, my Lord Moses, forbid them. In other words, forbid them from prophesying. Verse 29, and it says, and Moses said unto him, okay, envious thou for my sake? Okay. People, okay. So Moses peeked into Joshua's mind. He says, envious thou for my sake? Okay. And this is the problem too with the men of Israel. The men of Israel, now this wasn't Moses' mindset, but this is just what, I'm seeing. The men of Israel, they have this issue where they want to be what I once heard one of the camps say, a lot of black men want to be the HNIC, the head Negro in charge. Okay. And whoever the head Negro in charge is, they don't want the other Negroes to be in charge. They want to be the only one. They want to be the only one leading. They want everybody under their kneecaps. Okay. But see, Moses, he didn't have that mindset. See how humble Moses was and how meek he was. He told Joshua, he said, hey, are you envying for my sake? He says, with God, that all the Lord's people were prophets. And that's how we feel at Israel's church. We don't want to be the only ones doing what we doing and speaking the way that we speak. We wish that all the brothers and all the sisters would speak as we speak and would get up and teach. As it says in the New Testament, we pray for more laborers, that they come work in the vineyard. We don't want to have to do these type of things that we're doing by ourselves. Same with the other churches and other camps. I'm sure they feel the same way. I wish that other brothers and sisters would get up. And I'm talking about the truth, the real ones, the real churches and real camps. I'm sure, they would love for other brothers and sisters to get up and help, man. Because this job, man, of trying to get this word out to Israel, man, it's a big job. We don't have enough people. We don't have enough people to try and get this word out to Israel. It's just so many Israelites and they everywhere too. So it's like, hey, with God, that all the Lord's people were prophets, and that the Lord would put his spirit upon them. And Moses got him into the camp, he and the elders of Israel. And there went forth a wind from the Lord. So Moses and these elders, they went back into the camp. Okay, and when they went back into the camp, it says this wind came from the Lord. It says, and brought quails from the sea, and let them fall by the camp, as it were a day's journey on this side, and as it were a day's journey on the other side, round about the camp, as it were 2 cubits high upon the face of the earth. And the people stood up all that day and all that night and all the next day, and they gathered the quails. He that gathered least gathered 10 omers, and they spread them abroad, for themselves round about the camp. So those that even gathered least gathered a lot. That's how much quail the Lord gave them. Verse 33. Now look at this. Because God remembered all that complaining about the food, which he knew it wasn't really about the food. He knew what they really were saying. Okay, and it pissed him off. And watch what he do in 33. And while the flesh was yet between their teeth. So these are all the complainers. Okay, the ones that was doing all that complaining, talking crazy, defying logic. It says, while the flesh was yet between their teeth, it was chewed. The wrath of the Lord was kindled against the people, and the Lord smote the people with a very great plague. And he called the name of that place Kibroth Hattaavah, because there they buried the people that lusted. So them ones that lusted and complained. So those are the mixed multitude. And then those of the 12 tribes of Israel, he got both of they behind. All them that lusted. He tore them up. And then verse 35, and it says, and the people journeyed from Kibroth Hattaavah unto Hazeroth, and abode at Hazeroth. And brothers and sisters, that is the end of the chapter. I hope you guys got some understanding, and I will see you in chapter 12. Shalom.